Well, hello everyone, and welcome to my highlights of the final round of the 2017 Formula Sim Racing Winter Series. I'm starting in P10. Finally, I managed to break into the top 10 for a race. And it's the last race of the season or the last weekend of the season, where after two times where I lost a possible reverse grid through no fault of my own, I am looking for redemption in this race, as mentioned in my video yesterday. So, we are lined up on the grid. We rev our engines. We have the lights in Dubai. Lights out and away we go. We don't get the best of launches off the line. And if you look at my mirrors, I'm being swarmed from left to right, with Ivan Leonov on my left and Jacob Reed on the right. I back off to avoid any Bruno situation, and I go to the outside. I try to find a way around, but if you see in the mirror, Dylan Scrivens is right beside me as we head into the fast right-hander. So I have the high ground going into here, but he's going to have the high ground going into this double right-hand. It's a very tough corner, and I've lost quite a few positions. I didn't get the best of starts, and I am down into, I believe it's around P13. But now heading into the long left-hander, and I seem to get a reasonable exit off of the left-hander. Now heading down the long straight into the hairpin. But Brad Hutchinson just completely comes from nowhere, and we were lucky not to get taken out there. It was quite an ambitious move from Brad Hutchinson, but as you can see, we are right behind Dylan Scrivens on the hard tyre, hoping to go longer into the race, which is the medium. But now looking at a replay of the start from Dylan Scrivens' perspective, as you can see, we just didn't get the launch. But Jacob Reed got a fantastic launch. He was always going to pass us as we head into the first corner. And we have to go to the outside, which opens the door for Dylan to get through down the inside. There was just no way we were going to defend that position. So moving on to lap 2, where I'm trying to take P11 from Dylan Scrivens. As you can see, we get a good drive off of the long left-hander, and we're into his slipstream. We've got longer gears, it seems. We have more straight on speed, but he's covering off the inside, and there's just no way round the outside. We try to switch back him, but he has the inside line, so there was no way around. And that would actually come kind of a protocol for the next few laps. I'd get a fantastic drive off of the long left-hander, and he would cover off the inside, usually before I could get there, and then I have to switch to the outside here in this particular instance, and he is able to keep P11. As you can see here, we run wide, and we've got our teammate Luke Maguire behind, and we run wide, partly intentionally because I was letting him through because he was faster, but also to aid my race slightly as well, because if he battled it out with Scrivens and Leonov, then we'd have a chance to overtake the likes of Scrivens and Leonov. So, as you can see, the three of them are absolutely going at it, going into the final corner. Now, heading down the pit straight, and it seems that Maguire is being absolutely swarmed as they head into the first corner. But Leonov taps Scrivens and has half spun, and now we are right behind him. So Leonov is the next car. As you can see, now moving on to the next lap, Ivan Leonov runs wide, and he rejoins the track, then completely turns in, and we have spun, and we are going to drop into P16. So, we have lost quite a few positions which need to be cleared if I want to get that reverse grid that I'm looking for. And we'd actually have kind of a similar protocol to what would happen with Scrivens. I'd get a fantastic exit off of the long left-hander, and Danny Van Der Neat would cover the inside before I can get there. And he was able to defend the distance. As you can see, we get a good drive, but he is able to find a grippier line heading into the next corner. As you can see, we're having a look at Van Der Neat, but Jan Vesely has spun, so we are up into 15th. Unfortunate for him, one of my teammates. As you can see, Danny Van Der Neat, though, has gone very wide at the final corner, and we are right behind him. We're in the slipstream with longer gears. We are able to get a run, and we are going to have a look down the inside, heading into turn 1, and we have made that move stick, so we are up into P14, which is what we need. Ton van Egmond pitted and actually had a problem, so I think had to retire. So we are up into P13 at this point in clear air. That is until Stephen Fisher has an issue ahead and has spun. And we are alongside heading into this right-hander, but we run wide and he is able to defend the position. So now we're in P12, right behind Ivan Leonov down the straight, who's just been passed by Stephen Fisher. He moves a little bit, but he doesn't get to the inside in time, which means we are able to pass him for P11, which is definitely what we need. So now moving on to lap 17, we pit in for our scheduled stop for a set of mediums, and we do get a very tough pit entry right, because especially that corner, I crashed there so many times in practice, but I managed to make it in without a problem there. So we switch to the medium tyre. Doing 12 laps on the medium is the plan. So we exit the pits. Dylan Scriven's retired in this time, so we are hoping that we can be out in 10th place. And we are in 10th place, ahead of the likes of Leonov and co. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where Stephen Fisher comes out, but we are in 10th, so our strategy has worked. But will we get the undercut on Stephen Fisher? A few laps later, Stephen Fisher pitted, and we were ahead, so we have managed to get that undercut on Stephen Fisher up into 9th place. So at this point, all is going well. If we finish this way and had a trouble-free end of the race, we could have not only a good finishing position for race 1, but also a good starting position for race 2. So now heading into this corner, but Tank Applegate has spun, is on the track, and we have nowhere to go, no time to react, and we run straight into the back of him, and our front wing is gone. So now looking at the replay, as you can see, Tank Applegate spins it, and he tries to rejoin the track, and in doing so, we are unfortunately collected. And he did admit that he may have parked his car in a bit of a dangerous position after the race, but you could say I could have done better to react to his stationary car. So you can't blame him 100%. And whoever was to blame, our race is completely ruined. It was all looking so good. I was so desperate to get a top 10 finish for this race, and it all looked so set. It looked like all I had to do was just finish the race, and then that happened, and I was absolutely devastated. So I'm into the pits waiting for my front wing to be replaced, but I have actually dropped to P16. I switched to the soft tyre, so I have some kind of a pace advantage. And even though I was able to catch up to 15th place Jan Vesely at the end of the race, I eventually ran out of laps to make any passes. So after looking so good for a top 10 and a reverse grid, I ended up with nothing. P16. And I was very annoyed. I was just in disbelief at this point. As you can see, I smashed my car, which shows my feelings at this point in time. But there is still a second race. So, moving on to race 2. And we are starting from P16, which is obviously not ideal, as I've said before. But everyone is lining up on the grid. And we are ready for lights out for the final time in the Winter Series. So, we rev our engines. We have the lights in Dubai. Lights out, and away we go. We get a better launch than Javier Torres ahead. But there's a squeeze ahead, and Jan Vesely is pushed into us, and we have nowhere to go. And already we are being caught up in an incident. So looking at the start from Stoyan Barbakov's point of view, it's kind of a hard one to judge, but I think Leonov kind of cuts across on Jan. So looking at it from Jan's perspective, there was certainly nothing he could have done because he was kind of pushed into me. But we were just unlucky to be caught up. So now looking at it from a cinematic perspective, I think that is a tough one to judge. Let me know in the comments section who you think was at fault for that. Certainly wasn't me or Jan, I don't think. But me and Jan's car are stuck to each other. And we do get going, but we're spinning on rejoining. And we're like 30 seconds behind. So I decided to retire. So a very short race. But at least it was a longer race for me than it usually is for DMAD96 in F1 races before he rage quits.
You just got, you just got, you just got.
Anyway, moving on now. Today, unfortunately, was just not my day. The whole Win Series in general, I had a lot of pace, but things just didn't go my way on race day. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, Buddy Simpson will be the next video. And of course, in terms of FSR, we'll see you soon for the main series, where I'll be racing in the Pro Series. And that starts on the 19th of March. See ya.